gentlemen, wrestling fans, sports entertainment enthusiasts, whatever the heck else you might want to classify yourself. It's Monday night. In fact, it's Labor Day, and we just got done watching this evening's Monday Night Raw, and we're here to gather for the Monday Night tradition, the Monday Night Raw post-show here on Mega Powers Radio, where you see hosts from all of our various shows combined together to make a super-powered forum here to discuss tonight's events, where we will also be taking your calls throughout the show. To introduce who we got in the team here, I'm your lead host of the evening, Mike Paden, lead host of Keeping Kayfabe, amongst other things. On the line, we got here lead host of Smark Out Moment, Tony Mango. What's shaking, dude?
I'm not at liberty to say.
Oh, goodness gracious, that makes me worry a little bit. Also on the line here, we got participant of Keeping Kayfabe, also host of Otaku Nation, and also forming his own show about MMA coming up soon on Dream Elite Radio, Steven Wago. What's shaking, dude?
Hey, man, everything's good. Well, besides Raw, but we'll get into that.
And also we got here Mr. Paul Hibbard, regular here on the Monday Night Raw post show. How you doing, Paul?
Doing good. Nice to be with you guys again.
Absolutely, man. I feel like we're going to have a very deep conversation. Before we get into what we got, our thoughts, we just want to let you know you can call to the show anytime you like. Area code 760-512-7247. That's area code 760-512-7247. And speaking of callers, we already got our first caller on the line, our traditional first caller, Mr. JD. Let's bring him on here. JD, what's shaking, dude? What you got to say about Raw tonight?
Well, I missed most of one because I was at the Fifth Florida State game, but I got home to see the last little bit with the big show and the Shield. And once again, it just goes to show that the Shield and Randy Orton continue to kiss Triple H's ass every chance they get because they have the power and it's their rules, basically. And once again, it turned out to be, from what I saw at the beginning of the show, once again, a very shitty show, even though Daniel Bryan's promo was very good. So I didn't get to see most of Raw. I'm catching up on it now. But I did get to see the last little bit, like I saw when Show knocked out Daniel Bryan as ordered by Triple H. And once again, Stephanie the Whore McMahon decides to say, no, don't touch my husband. Don't touch my husband. Gee, I wonder who's kissing whose ass once again this week. Oh, that's right. Randy Orton's sucking off on Triple H, and the Shield continues to blow Triple H every chance they get because they're their little buddies, and they can't do that because they're just protecting their own interests. And meanwhile, they're making Daniel Bryan in the locker room of life a living hell once again. It just goes to show you who's kissing whose ass in the locker room once again. And once again, it turned out to be, from what I saw, the last little bit of it anyway, a very, very shitty show.
So I'm guessing you're unhappy with the events of Daniel Bryan. Well, how about Cody Rhodes? Are you sad with what's happened to him?
Well, how many times does he have to get fucked over? I mean, seriously, is it Randy? I mean, Randy Orton has his 2-strike limit against it right already with the rules violation. Daniel Bryan's never committed one rules violation, but because Randy Orton is Triple H's new buddy again, he can kiss his ass whenever he chance. And what about the Shield? Oh, that's right. We haven't seen them defend the belts in a while. Why don't you grow some balls and defend the tag belts once in a while, Rollins and Reigns? Seriously, why don't you defend them for once? Oh, that's right. You're not. You're Triple H's new bodyguards. You're his kiss-ass buddies. Same with you, Dean Ambrose. Why haven't you defended the U.S. title in a while, buddy? Oh, that's right. You have no one to defend it against. If memory serves me, I think you had a good match with Rob Van Dam at SummerSlam, but guess what? That was the only match in the last 4 months you defended the belt against anyone because you have no balls. You have no balls at all.
Oh, my gosh, JD just unleashing on everybody. Stephanie McMahon. Now you're accusing people of having no balls. Who else is on your shit list this week, JD? You seem pretty upset.
Well, no, it's not on my shit list per se. Like I said, it's just the same old crap. I mean, I imagine the Rangers are going to be down this week because of, obviously, the college football game that was at tonight between Florence and Penn. Like I said, I'm catching up on it now. But I did watch Total Divas last night, and I got to say, for the most part, it wasn't a bad show, and it was okay. It had its moments last night, but one of the guys that was a total tool in every sense of the word was Vincent, Ariana's so-called boyfriend. I mean, there were some good parts about last night, so that was kind of funny, especially when Brie was in Brie mode, so to speak, and she got a little too drunk. But like I said, another guy that I am just so sick of seeing week in and week out is stupid Fandango. The guy is a douche.
No.
The guy is he is a, I'm sorry, he is a tool, he's a fool, and this whole thing with the Miz, come on, really? Give me a break. But like I said, I haven't seen all of Raw yet. I'm catching up on some of it now. And like I said, I got to see the last little bit from what I saw with the whole Big Show Daniel Bryan thing. But like I said, they say tonight, Triple H said, if Cody, you don't win, however, you're fired. well, gee, like I told you before, how many times does Orton and the Shield have to suck up to the McMahons? Enough is enough already. Seriously.
Were you around for the original corporate regime we had with Vince McMahon and The Rock and the Big Boss Man and Ken Shamrock?
I remember that back in the day. Yeah, they need an authority figure right now because you think about it, though, you need that one person to speak out against the McMahon Helmsley thing because obviously with Sheamus and Cena hurt, who else can they turn to? Who else can they realize? Who's the one guy other than Daniel Bryan that they can turn to and say, hey, guess what, however, we're going to have to make you a new star, you know? I mean, with Cena and Sheamus out for a good while, however, they need a big-name face, you know? And right now the question is, who is that face?
Who is it? Let me throw a name at you here. Titus O'Neil.
I can't see it happening. I cannot.
No?
Ziggler, maybe. No, I don't see it. Ziggler, maybe. I could see Ziggler because they need to do something with Ziggler. You know?
He didn't do much of anything tonight himself. He did get attacked by Dean Ambrose, so maybe that is bringing him into this story.
Yeah, but you know what, Howard? It just goes to show you the McMahons are on their stupid, dumbass power trip again, and Vince obviously doesn't give a shit. He's all pleased about his son-in-law on the Shield, basically getting his way and screwing everyone else in the locker room, basically. By the way, I don't know if you guys are college football fans, real quick. I'm going to give you a quick cheap plug here. I don't know if you've heard or not. Florida State did crush my beloved Pitt Panthers 41-13 tonight. It was Pitt's debut night, and they retired Larry Fitzgerald by Jersey tonight in Pittsburgh. But all in all, a very bad night for the Pitt Panthers.
So you're a football fan. The next 16 weeks, from what I'm understanding, they're going to have some heavy competition with Monday Night Football coming back. How are you going to be torn with that?
Well, there's going to be some good games, obviously, on Monday Night Football, obviously, but I'll still watch my fair share of Raw. I mean, obviously, the Steelers play one time this year on Monday Night Football, which I don't mind. I mean, I'll be watching Raw and, of course, the game, flipping back forth during commercials. But more often than not, my mind will still be on Raw. Like I said,
JD, can I ask you?
Sure.
No, go ahead. Go ahead, finish.
I was just going to say, with the 16-game schedule, however, it's going to be interesting to see what games they put on and what the reigns are going to be like, because right now we're heading into the Survivor Series. The Rumbles in January, they're going to have to really step on the gas starting, like I said, next week with Monday Night Football if they want to really get the ratings up. I'll tell you right now, if they don't, they're in trouble.
JD, can I ask you a college football question?
Sure, by all means. I'm a college football fan, as it is. Go ahead.
I know Penn State did better than what they were supposed to do last year. How do you think they're going to do this year, seeing as how all the fines and the restrictions are still in play?
That's the thing. That's a good question you asked me. And being a Penn State fan, I can answer you. I think they're going to do a lot better than people give them credit for. I mean, you look at that schedule, they have only 4 road games. Wisconsin and Ohio State are on the road, but they get Michigan and Nebraska at home. They don't have their first road game until early October. They could start out the gate very, very well. I think Hackenberg, if he stays healthy, could be the Big Ten Freshman of the Year possibly. I mean, he was the number 1 recruit in the Big Ten this year. Obviously, when the scouting reports came out this summer, he was one of the top quarterbacks in the country. I think he'll be okay. I think Bryan is a good coach. I wouldn't mind 8-4, but I could see a 9-3 season happen.
Okay, thanks for the input.
I can't believe all this football talk. I don't know anything about football, but I can tell you this as far as college football is concerned, and I only know this because I work for the team. This is a football team who has just been absolutely under the radar for a long time now because they've been doing absolutely nothing with it. It's just been like, hey, we have a team and that's good enough. But this past summer, they put a lot of work into making the best possible team they can have, and that's the Army Black Knights. I think they might be a force to be reckoned with this year.
You are very right, Michael Paden. You are very right.
All this football talk when the logo finally changes to not have a football.
Right? Oh, my goodness. All right, JD, before we let you go, man, your high point and low point, if you can even think of a high point for tonight's Raw.
Oh, geez.
Well, it's going to be hard to say. I think, though, I haven't seen the whole CM Punk thing yet. I imagine Punk, once again, had a pretty good high point tonight, I would imagine, unless Axel and Heyman beat him up. The low point, like I said, I mean, I thought at first, originally the high point was, and like I said, I haven't seen the whole show yet. I think from what I saw early on, Orton and Triple H ran their little spiel at the beginning. However, I thought Daniel Bryan's promo was pretty good at the beginning, like I said, when he came out. I have not seen the CM Punk thing yet, so I couldn't tell you about that as a high point. The low point, obviously, like I said, I would have to say it was the ending. Once again, it just goes to show you that Chyna Jr., Stephanie McMahon, steps in front of her husband because just when it looked like Big Show was ready to cold cock him right in the fade tower, she steps and says, "Don't touch my husband, don't touch my husband, you'll regret it." Well, guess what? Here's an idea, McMahon. We're tired of the same old shit. Go away.
All right, JD, anything else on your mind, man?
Not tonight, guys.
All right, thanks for calling in, dude. Always good to have you. Have a good night, man.
You too, guys.
All right, guys, I got to say, there seems to be a lot of negativity going around tonight's Raw. I'm curious to hear what the rest of the panel says, but we had an eventful one at the very least, so much so that we actually saw a man's career come to a close tonight, and that's the first thing I wanted to talk about coming out of Monday Night Raw. Cody Rhodes confronted Randy Orton and Triple H about the way they've been bullying Daniel Bryan as of late, and ended up having Triple H put Cody Rhodes into a match against Randy Orton with Cody Rhodes' career on the line, where we saw Randy Orton win that match. And now, Cody Rhodes seems like a man with no place to go, just as he's about to get married. Tony, your thoughts about what we could see for Cody Rhodes?
He's got to be taking the time off for his honeymoon and the wedding itself. He'll be back around Hell in a Cell. There's no way that they would have put this much stock into Cody if he was actually leaving the company. Now, granted, he might be gone longer than Battleground. He might be, they might kind of hold him off until Survivor Series or something like that. But, you know, he really should be coming back within 2 months, I would say.
Paul, what's your hopes for Cody Rhodes?
I mean, I totally agree with Tony. I mean, he's going to be off for his whole wedding and honeymoon thing. But, I mean, how can you not bring him back after the match that he had tonight?
Great match.
He had a fantastic match against the face, quote unquote, of the company, Randy Orton, and he's had great matches against Randy Orton before this. But I mean, come on, this was a non pay-per-view match, and he absolutely brought it. I mean, you got to bring Cody Rhodes back, absolutely. Ted DiBiase, yeah, maybe you bring him back, but whatever, it doesn't really matter. But Cody Rhodes is a definite yes.
You know, I have to wonder if Cody Rhodes perhaps is going to join Ted DiBiase over at collegeGarageSale.com. They're bringing the legacy connection over there to the internet.
I saw that in the chat line.
I did like that. I think it was JBL. It might have been Lawler. Now that I'm thinking back on it, that they mentioned that Ted DiBiase just left. And they were like, you know what, maybe Cody Rhodes is going to leave too. Maybe the whole legacy's gone except for Randy Orton. Like, they kind of threw that out there. Because why not? I mean, Ted DiBiase's out of the company, but that doesn't mean he still doesn't have a history with the company. You could use that to build this feud a little bit more. Hell, you know what they could really do? With the way that Orton and Cody had such a good match, and that they keep mentioning these legacy connections, and the way that Cody had his exit, which was, you know, a ball of fire, a little bit weird. But they can kind of build onto that, and if they do, in fact, end the Daniel Bryan, Randy Orton feud at, say, Battleground, and Orton is still the champion, why not have Cody Rhodes be the next person that faces him?
I would like to point out that this was the first time that Cody Rhodes publicly in his career gave his brother any kind of respect.
Oh, the last bit when they were taking him out, escorting him, and he was in his suit, and he was talking about his father and how the whole family has just had problems with the McMahon family throughout 20 years.
Which is very true. Mm-hmm. It's very true.
He said his brother got put in gold paint and he was never the same again. That's putting it quite mildly.
And he was crying at it. Like, it was like that was the part that upset him even more, which I thought was kind of funny, even though you're not supposed to. It was like, what did you tell your fiance? And he's just kind of like stone-faced, like, oh, I don't know what. And then it's like, my brother was in gold paint, man. And like, you know.
Well, you know that's not really true. You know his brother chose to do the whole gold dust routine. You know, yeah, that's what Dustin chose.
And just to follow up what you were saying, how they mentioned about Ted, it seems like they're doing a lot of things that are not necessarily breaking rules, I guess you could say, but just kind of awkward for what they usually do. I mean, bringing up Big Show's gigantism during his segment with Stephanie McMahon. What else happened tonight? That seemed kind of Triple H kept calling Big Show Paul towards the end.
Mm-hmm. Paul White.
Mm-hmm.
They brought up his strip mall in investment.
They did bring up his strip mall investment. I thought that was rather hilarious. I don't want to forget to get Steven here. We got him back in line. He had a little bit of communications issues. Steven, how are things going over there? What did you think about Cody Rhodes' ordeal tonight?
Well, I'm feeling a little under the weather. I'm not sure if it's something I ate or watching this show, but this was this was the silver lining of what was a very, very long night. First out, Cody was A+ when it came to his promo work tonight, and even better when he came into the ring. We started off with Cody getting in Triple H's bad books. He played that off well. His acting's been superb this evening, and for a TV match, he went out there and put it all on the line with Orton, and I thoroughly enjoyed it. There was a segment later on where he was leaving the building. His acting was brilliant in that. I loved how he touched on some real incidents with his father, Dusty Rhodes, and his brother, Goldust, and played into that. So the storyline with Cody, I'm looking forward to. I don't know where they're going to go in the future with it. I'm hoping we're going to get some type of union versus the corporation type thing that we had previously during the Attitude Era.
Yes! That would be fantastic.
Just on a better level.
Wouldn't tonight have been the perfect time to start that, too? It's Labor Day.
Right.
But I could see a group of baby faces teaming up against the corporation. You got Daniel Bryan in there, Cody Rhodes. Heck, they can even bring Ted DiBiase after making light of his recent future endeavors. So I like where they're going with this, and I think it's going to push Cody up to that next level, as long as they don't drop the ball with him as they're prone to do with a lot of guys.
I want to give credit to Tony this. I believe he put this out there earlier, but the way Cody exited, he looked like he was on the level with the WWE champion because they went out there, they had a fantastic match. I'm pretty sure hands down match of the night for anybody who watched the show. And he had him beat at times, it seemed. So
yeah. The only time I mean we were surprised was when Randy Orton kicked out of Crossroads because Crossroads is his finisher.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, come on. Yeah, we're always expecting nobody to kick out of the RKO, but if you're going to give somebody the disaster kick and the Crossroads, you got to expect them to not kick out of at least one of them.
Yeah, it was one of the few false finishes on a TV show, like a TV Raw, that got me because with the stipulation they threw in there, it actually paid off. For a brief second there, I thought Cody was going to get the pinfall, but kicked out, and then you could all see it go downhill from there.
You know, it's really a shame they had to lose Cody at this time period where they're so short on strong baby faces. I mean, of course, John Cena, Sheamus, now Cody Rhodes are out. Chris Jericho is out as well. And they just don't have that many baby faces. It just seems like there's nothing but heels in the company right now, especially strong baby faces. Go ahead, Paul.
But we saw the same thing during the original Corporation era. It was Stone Cold versus the World. We didn't see any other baby faces in that Attitude Era.
But also... Sorry, continue.
No. Go, Steven. I'm done.
But what that does, it produces opportunities for guys who are in the corporation to break off, become a babyface. And when you've broken off on what's the hottest storyline in the company, that gives you huge momentum in a babyface turn.
I think the bigger problem isn't that they don't have enough baby faces, it's that they don't have enough direction. If you look at the way that some of the baby faces are being used right now in the company, Kofi Kingston just came back, and they haven't done anything with him.
He won one match, and then he lost a match, and then he hasn't been on TV since.
Right, so even when you have somebody like Kofi Kingston, they're not doing anything with him. If you have somebody like Christian, they make him the challenger for the World Heavyweight Championship, and he's booked well in the match, and then after that, they drop him off the face of the earth. I mean, there was rumors going around that he might have a match with Bray Wyatt. We're not seeing any build to that whatsoever. He wasn't, doing anything this week. Bray Wyatt, even though he's a heel, they didn't set anything up for him.
Bray Wyatt hasn't actually been there in 2 weeks now.
Right, so, this entire company, they've done this before, and they'll do it again, I'm sure, and they're doing it right now. They'll implement this big storyline, and then they'll focus everything on that, and then at the last minute they'll panic before a pay-per-view, and they'll throw 10 other matches onto the card and all that. But right now, you can even look at the World Heavyweight Championship situation. what's the buildup of that feud? You've got Ricardo with RVD, which is awkward, and they're not incorporating that into the Triple H storyline. So all they're doing instead is just having the two of them kind of look at each other, which is very stupid. But where are they going to go? Where are they going to go from here? You know, somebody like Darren Young, they're giving him a little bit of a spotlight now that he's got this attention on him.
He's won 3 matches in a row.
But all they are doing is just going, we need some filler matches. Why don't we put Darren Young in there? None of the actual baby faces that, I don't want to say matter, but like that have something behind them, like a Miz or a Christian or Mark Henry, they're not doing anything.
But isn't this the perfect time to bring up some guys from NXT, though? I mean, in a situation where they're only wanting to bring guys up when they've got something ready for them, there's plenty of opportunity.
I think they have more than enough people that they're not doing anything with right now. If they bring up more people, it's just going to make it even more cluttered.
We have to bring up the idea, or the fact, sorry, not the idea, the fact that Mark Henry was injured in WWE's Boston house show last night.
Oh, maybe that's why they abandoned the tag match. And then had a Big Show do all this other stuff. Maybe that's why this was all kind of like haphazard. It was scrambled to put together after what happened with Mark Henry.
Yeah, he definitely injured himself. That's what they were saying on
Wait, Mark Henry got an injury? Holy
oh, yeah. Like,
wait. Mark Henry and Sin Cara have injured themselves within 2 weeks of each other?
Isn't he supposed to be working through it, though?
I don't know the results of that.
I thought so.
Pulling it back to Cody Rhodes for a second here, I want to give a shout-out to iRadius in the chat we got here. He said he would like to see Cody Rhodes come back slightly repackaged and possibly with a new finisher. What do you guys think about that, Tony?
I like Crossroads.
Do you?
Yeah.
It seems like such a typical finisher so many people have.
I think it's got a nice little twist to it. No pun intended. I just realized as soon as I said it. If anybody else needs new finishers out there, Daniel Bryan needs some kind of a pinfall finisher. You need a new finisher for somebody like Damien Sandow.
Big E Langston, that move's fucking stupid.
That move is stupid.
Yeah, big ending is terrible.
Wasn't he going to use the torture rack for a while? That would be a great move for him.
Shit,
yeah, why not?
Just give him a jackknife powerbomb. Everyone loves jackknife powerbomb.
Hell yeah.
Ezekiel Jackson was using it, but he's certainly not on TV anymore.
What the hell is Ezekiel Jackson?
Where is he?
If you ever bring back David Otunga, he desperately needs a finisher. But that's if he ever comes back.
David Otunga needs a starter at this point.
Where the hell is he?
So I think Crossroads is perfectly fine for him.
Yeah, you know, they put him in that movie with Halle Berry. He comes out for one match in promotion for it and never again. And yet it's still the highest grossing WWE Films movie of all time.
I'm sorry, if you're going to give Cody Rhodes the Alabama Slam, which was a legitimate finisher for Hardcore Holly...
Bobcore.
Okay, Bobcore Holly. Whatever. If you're going to give him the Alabama Slam, which, honestly, even if it's fake, if you look at it, that is a fucking finishing move.
The only issue is you need the size to pull that off and make it look good. Cody doesn't have that.
That's true.
When it comes to Cody Rhodes, I say get the disaster kick over.
Yeah.
It looks sweet. It's got perfect opportunities for some wicked reversals. There's a whole bunch of different stuff you can do that's not been seen before with that move.
I say put some focus on Dolph Ziggler instead and give him a new finisher because he, above everybody, needs a new finisher in WWE.
Well, Corey Krause in the chat room. Corey Krause in the chat room brought up the point that I think we're all in very much agreement on. Just have him use the super kick more.
And it's a good super kick he can pull off. Don't get me wrong, it's not Steven Richards quality, but it's good.
He does a wonderful famouser too.
He does? That's not a finisher though. That was never a finisher.
If Mr. Ass can use it, Dolph Ziggler can use it.
Mr. Ass is not abused.
He needs to stay away from anything involving Billy Gunn because between the blonde hair, the horrible fake tan, they need to stay away from gimmick infringement.
You know, they're basically the same person.
No, listen, you know who used the famouser as a roll-up until she switched it to the as a finisher, until she switched to the roll-up? Was Kelly.
Yeah, but she held the arm and kind of hopped on one foot awkwardly. I don't know what the fuck that was.
Yeah, that was a terrible. All right, guys, let's wrap up talk here. We're finishing talking up about Cody Rhodes. If you want to call and give us your thoughts about tonight's Monday Night Raw here on Mega Powers Radio, you can dial in area code 760-512-7247, 760-512-7247, or you can join us in the chat room on our Blog Talk Radio page. We got a few people on there chatting it up. Guys, I want to transfer into the other big story we had tonight, and that was, of course, the continuation between Daniel Bryan and his struggle with the new corporation that we have building here. We had an opening segment where Randy Orton and Triple H were out basically asking Daniel Bryan to drop the match at Night of Champions. Daniel Bryan says no, and then the rest of the night was spent pretty much exerting their power either over Daniel Bryan or other people, as we already spoke about what they did with Cody Rhodes. They also taunted the Big Show a bit in the ring. Stephanie McMahon did. We'll get to that in a little bit. But it all resulted in Daniel Bryan versus the Big Show in the main event. And, I'm going to leave this to Steven because I feel like he's got a lot to say about this.
My biggest issue with tonight was more so the main event and the ending. It was just abysmal as far as pro wrestling booking goes. But the whole show was just a drag. There was nothing that grabbed your attention and went, oh, this is quality entertainment. I mean, what was the first stunt they pulled? Was it Dean Ambrose attacking Dolph Ziggler, and then they had that abysmal match with Ryback, which was essentially just a beatdown and watching Dolph Ziggler sell? As far as the whole Daniel Bryan struggle goes, I just don't understand the booking side of between Big Show and him. It's like Big Show is so upset and distraught over having to fight Daniel Bryan in a pro wrestling match in a pro wrestling company. As far as what it means, from a logical standpoint, it does not make any sense. He's wrestled Daniel Bryan a dozen times before as a face, as a heel. So I generally just don't understand why he's so distraught, being upset having to wrestle Daniel Bryan. And Daniel Bryan took the right approach for his character. He's going to go in there, what he does every night, wrestle, overcome the obstacles in front of him, and get back to the title. Big Show, however, I don't understand what they're doing with his character.
Tony?
I really liked the idea behind some of this. I don't know about the execution necessarily. One thing that I'm a huge fan of that they built into this was that they referenced the ironclad contract, because that was a huge plot hole before, and now they've brought some legitimacy to it by saying, look, yeah, you do have that ironclad contract, but if you don't fulfill your obligations, you're in breach of the contract, and then that's why he can't just walk around and start punching Triple H in the face. The idea behind him crying all the time, though, that's a little ridiculous. Big Show kind of has this tendency when he starts crying to look like somebody just like dumped a bucket of water on his face, and it's very awkward because he's like the biggest guy in the entire company, and he seems like he's just a blubbering infant. That's awkward, but hey, if it gives us an ability to take the big guy and put him down and make everybody else look like they're oppressive over somebody who's even his size, why not?
I've got one issue with the ironclad contract, and that is Big Show came out previously during his original run with that whole ironclad gimmick with John Laurinaitis and said, I can basically do what the hell I want. And then they turned around and says, but you can't. Okay. Seems legit.
I'm not sure whether because they actually did mention the ironclad contract tonight. I don't think they did that before. They brought it up at the beginning of the show. And yet they're still saying Big Show's only options are to fight Daniel Bryan or walk away. Like, why can't Go ahead, Paul.
But then JBL brought up the idea that Triple H is the COO and he can tear
override.
up that he can tear up that ironclad contract whenever he wants.
That makes sense. He would outrank John Laurinaitis. A couple things I just want to bring out into the chat room we got here. iRadius asks, did they officially name the faction? They should call it the Brass. I do like the Brass, but another name that I heard that I really liked and I do hope they go with is the Establishment. I think that could be a cool name for that. Something else he brought up here, I like that they pull the guys out to see how the best in the business does it. And this is something they've done 2 weeks in a row, and I'm wondering if it's something they're going to continue. In the main event, they bring out every single person in the locker room onto the stage to stand there and watch what's going on. It was really powerful.
They've done this 3 weeks in a row, okay? And I'm sorry, but it's just boring, okay? We never saw, in the Attitude Era when Stone Cold Steve Austin was doing this, we never saw more than a week go by and he didn't bring out some kind of rebel vehicle like a beer truck or, trying to toss the Rock over a bridge into the river, which he lost. I will recognize that. But come on. This is ridiculous. You have to give the guy that they're cheering for at least one win before you let him lose 3 weeks in a row. That's just ridiculous.
Well, he did win. He won against John Cena.
No, yeah, and then he lost 3 weeks in a row.
Yeah, and when in the fans' mind, it's always, what have you done for me lately? Not generally when you're going to because I think we've all come to the conclusion that Randy Orton's walking out champion at Night of Champions, right?
Probably.
Well,
yeah.
Normally,
maybe
from a booking standpoint, you normally have the guy, if he's going to lose, build himself up so he looks like a legitimate challenge, then get knocked down, or you bury it, or you make him, or you have him fail at every corner, and then get beat down. So unless they make him look like a British expression, the dog's bollocks at the Night of Champions, it's going to be very hard for him to come out of this month looking good.
No, here's the thing. This is not a normal storyline. This is a much different than your typical, let's have these two guys go against each other for the title, because usually, yes, that is how they do it. Whoever's winning the match is the one who gets themselves beat throughout the month. This is a much more elongated story, and it's going to be a long, hard road for Daniel Bryan to get there. And I'm pretty sure people in general, that Daniel Bryan isn't just losing. He's losing because of unfair means. He's losing because the Shield is getting involved. He's losing because he's being bullied into multiple matches in one night. That's why he's losing. At
the same time, though, you can do that and still have him look strong and put up a fight.
And by the way,
they pissed all over him during.
But by the way, tonight was a no contest, and last week he actually did win all 3 matches of the Gauntlet match, so he's not exactly losing.
Yeah, but as far as the wins go, it was mainly they all attacked him, so I don't really consider it much of a clean looking.
Yes and no. He pinned Seth Rollins clean. He made Dean Ambrose tap, but it was outside of after the DQ, and he also made Roman Reigns tap, but it was after the DQ.
They can do a lot more to make him look stronger at the same time of making him come off on the losing end.
But he still looks strong. He always looks strong.
Did he look strong tonight?
Yes, he did.
Because he kept fighting against the Big Show. He had the option to walk away. He's like, no, I am going to fight you until I die.
Okay,
that made him look very strong.
He was hitting him with his best shot, and you've got Big Show just standing there trying to have a conversation with him, barely selling it. I don't like that. This is your guy who you're billing as your next face of the company.
Mm-hmm. And he still is the face of the company. This is just unwanted circumstance. This is Daniel Bryan trying to climb up the ladder, which is what they're playing at.
And this is the Big Show doing what the Big Show should. I mean, even when Hulk Hogan was in there with Andre the Giant, he wasn't knocking him down with just a simple clothesline. He had to hit him with everything he had for long periods of time before he could even get Andre down to a knee.
And he still body slammed him.
Mm-hmm. So I think the problem is more so that the Big Show has been made to look weaker than he should have because he's been around for so long. But this is all completely believable to me. I mean, I see where you're coming from. I see why you see this as an booking that's making sense, but it's all coming together for me. And I think in the long term, when we get to the end, it's all going to make even more sense.
I honestly thought that, I know it's fake, but I thought that the WWE went way too far with their insults tonight. I mean, you don't need... Come on, you don't need to bring up the Big Show's gigantism, even though it's cured.
Guys, hold on.
Even though it's cured.
Guys, I definitely want to get into that later on the show, but we do have a caller on the line, and I want to bring him on for now. So we got a caller from 830 on the line. Tell us what's your name and where you're calling from, please.
Oh, you already know who this is, man. It's Texas Jeff. I promised you I'd call in, and I'm calling in.
Texas Jeff, man. Good to have you back in the show. How you doing, dude?
I'm doing good, man. I'm doing as good as I can. I just got home about a couple hours ago. You know, I live in Texas, obviously, so, you know, obviously, I work on some ranches and stuff, and Labor Day is not really a holiday when one of the ranches is your own, so I'm just getting
Labor Day is just another day of laboring.
Chilling out, you know. Yeah, but I like it, though, man. It's good. It gives me a good tan, at least, so fuck it.
So you didn't get to see Raw tonight, I'm guessing?
No, I have it paused right now with the Randy Orton Cody Rhodes match. I haven't seen the end of that, and I just logged on Facebook and I saw you guys were online or on air, and I was like, oh fuck! I almost forgot to call in. Honestly, if I would have logged on Facebook, I would have forgotten.
Oh, we're on for a bit longer, man. Oh, I don't know how long. We're definitely going to go, but we've only gotten into the second subject. We were actually talking about Cody Rhodes earlier. I don't want to ruin the ending for you for that, but I can tell you that match that you were watching is by far the match of the night. It's excellent. I don't know how far you've gotten into it so far, but great story told between those two. Something we could hopefully see them pull off later on down the line. What's your feeling so far, especially about that opening segment of what we're seeing go down between the new corporation and Daniel Bryan?
That's really good. I mean, I said last week, or at least I think I said last week, I like what they're doing with that. You know, that's. I was hoping that they would do more, and now it seems like maybe they're finally doing a little bit. Hey, well, I guess no one else really thought it, because I was kind of half and half watching Raw at first when I started it. I thought that when this is a different storyline or whatever, but when Dolph Ziggler got attacked by Dean Ambrose, I thought Ryback was coming out to help his ass, and I was like, wait, what the fuck? Like, because they were already doing something different with Ryback, and I was like, wow, now they're switching him again, and then I figured out, oh, that's his opponent. Oh, okay. But it was just funny to me, and my friend who I told you guys last week, you know, is a big WWE fan, wrestling fan, whatever, and he was laughing because I said, what the fuck is Ryback doing helping somebody now? I thought he was a bully. And then it got him thinking, too, I think. He's like, wait, what? And then, but yeah, it was pretty cool.
How about Ryback's new outfit with the half black, half white two-tone?
Yeah, I thought it was Rob Van Dam at first. No, I'm just kidding.
Goldberg.
Paden, didn't I call that in the chat, though?
You totally did.
Hey, don't hate on Goldberg, man. When I was growing up watching WCW, my grandpa's favorite was Goldberg, and he used to watch it with me to humor me. And he always liked Goldberg a lot, man.
I ain't hating on him.
No, I'm just playing.
So would you have an interest in seeing Goldberg back?
Man, I don't know, man.
Just one more match. Not even for like a full run or anything. Just one match. Build some kind of thing.
I mean, I can't say no, man, because when I was a little bit younger and Goldberg came, like out of nowhere, well, for me it was nowhere because I didn't get on the internet to look at wrestling stuff and stuff back then. And he came back and he speared The Rock. You know, I was going fucking nuts. I was calling my older brother and all this. And, well, by then he didn't really care, but I was calling him and everything. And, you know, it was fucking awesome. And actually, it's crazy, man. I haven't seen myself get into a match in a long time. And earlier I was watching that, what the fuck is their name? Primetime Player versus 3MB or whatever. Mm-hmm. And I was like, oh, wow, man, I'm actually kind of behind Primetime Player or whatever.
That was a really good tag match.
They're
really good tag match.
They were having a good match, man. The way he was getting for me, man, it's all about the crowd. You know, I love a good crowd, and the crowd was getting into it, so that made me kind of get into it. You know what I mean?
And it's funny because it was in Iowa, and Iowa is typically a city that we make fun of for being dead quiet, especially when they were there the last time for Raw. Tonight they were a bit better, and they were definitely into that match. When the Primetime Players were coming out, they got a lot of really good shots of the fans in the crowd doing the little Primetime Players dance.
Yeah, they were in the barks and stuff. It was cool.
The barks, yeah, they were doing the barks. Texas Jeff, let me pose a question to you here. We were saying that throughout this new corporation, we're going to need a couple new baby faces, or at least one other one, probably not just Daniel Bryan, but at least one other one to stand up. Who would you hope to see be that person? I mean, we got John Cena out, Sheamus is out of action, Chris Jericho is out doing his thing, Cody Rhodes might not be on the table.
I'm not sure how this Cody Rhodes thing goes, but assuming he comes back or loses or whatever, I'm not sure what's going to happen because I'm only like halfway through the match. I would love to see Cody Rhodes get some kind of push, man. I've been waiting for years and years. And it's funny, I told you guys last year that I've seen every pay-per-view for the past, a couple of years. The one I missed was when Cody Rhodes almost won Money in the Bank, and my friend was laughing at me because he's like, man, you would have been going fucking crazy. You know what I mean? You would have been going nuts.
Wasn't that his last Money in the Bank?
Yeah, this last one, I think, where he got betrayed, or not betrayed, but, when Damien Sandow won it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And he said, yeah, it looked like he was going to win. I wish you would have been here. You would have been going nuts. And I missed that one. But, man, I would love to see Cody Rhodes get some kind of something, man. Him and Dolph. Someone that I've been supporting for a long time, and I just wish they could. It seems like Dolph, man, can never get over that hump. And it just seems like, kind of the same with Cody Rhodes.
Yeah,
Dolph will get over that hump, and then the next couple weeks he's feuding with somebody random. You know what I mean? It's frustrating, man.
Man, it was only a couple months ago that we saw him coming out cashing in the Money in the Bank the night after WrestleMania. It's one of the biggest pops we'll probably hear from a crowd all year, and now he's wrestling the filler match between the two title matches and just getting beat up by Ryback in squash matches. It's pretty sad.
Yeah, that was. Oh, man. Yeah, I almost man, you had to remind me of that. I was just about to say how good Raw was, but yeah, that was kind of a low point for me, man. Like I said, I'm watching the replay kind of whatever because I DVR'd it, but I was like, man, and Ziggler's so good, man. It's selling and making his opponent look good, and just like the crowd's finally getting behind him, but I feel like it's hard for them to get behind a guy who's always getting his ass kicked or always losing, man. They need to, I don't know, man. They need to do something.
So Texas Jeff, you're a native Texaner, right?
Yeah, I lived in Texas all my life, man.
So let me ask you, being so close to Mexico down there, are you excited for Los Matadores?
Oh, God.
I really don't know what you're talking about. Offhand, I don't know what you're talking about.
I want to know how he feels about JBL, because JBL is a native Texan, and he's been on the McMahon side this whole time. That's what I want to know.
Well, I think JBL is hilarious, man. When the camera will zoom into the announcers, and JBL has that look on his face like "kill me now," and he has that like I don't give an F attitude about the announcing and stuff like that. And as far as when JBL was a performer, I don't know why, but his character is one of the few. Because back then, that was right when I was starting to get out of wrestling, thinking it was like kind of lame and repetitive. And JBL, man, he would always keep me entertained, man. I remember when he wrestled, who was it? Big Show. And the way I am when I watch a match, I try not to think about what's going to happen or whatever. Because you've been watching wrestling for a while, you can kind of predict the end 99% of the time. And I was trying not to do that, and I was just trying to watch the match. And Big Show chokeslammed him through the thing, and I was like, oh dang, Big Show's gonna win. And JBL crawls under the mat, and he escapes first technically and wins. And I was like, that's awesome, dude. That's hilarious. His theme music and the way he would say he's a wrestling god, and he's good, man. I really like JBL. He's hilarious in my opinion.
All right, Jeff, before we let you go there, I know you haven't gotten to see the whole show, but your high point and low point for what you've seen so far.
Well, I wish I could say my high point was Dolph coming on the show, because that's usually my high point. But it was sad getting him. I mean, I don't want to call it a squash match, because, he technically got jumped before, and they mentioned that. At least they mentioned it, so it wasn't all that bad. My low point, actually, I don't think there's been a Divas match yet, so I wouldn't say a low point yet. I don't really know. And I don't hate on the Divas or whatever, but lately, there's not much you can say about them, so I don't know.
But you have something fun in your future then.
That's good, man. I hope I do. I'm not ready for this night to end quite yet. I got to work on some wrenches tomorrow, but I'm not ready for it quite to end yet.
Oh, it's fantastic.
But hey, you guys keep doing what you're doing, man. And I'm gonna. I showed my buddy your show last week because he likes to listen to replays of when I call into places, because apparently I have a funny voice or whatever. So he likes to listen to my little tangents. So at least you got 2 more viewers, one including me. So.
Oh, we appreciate you. We appreciate you calling in too, man.
Yeah, you guys keep doing what you're doing, man.
Thanks a lot, man. We'll catch you soon, man. Take care, dude. Keep them ranches flowing.
Brother. Yeah, later, man.
Good night, dude. All right, Texas Jeff calling in here on Mega Powers Radio. And we invite all of you listeners to call in as well. The phone number to dial is area code 760-512-7247. That's area code 760-512-7247. Guys, returning back to our little bits that we got going on here about Monday Night Raw, I think the next thing we should talk about is where we left off, which was the Big Show's big event here, which was when he was in the ring with Stephanie McMahon, and she pretty much broke him down. She was talking about his bad investments, such as the mini mart, or the mini mall. It's not a mini mart.
The one-stop shop that he has.
That was a strip mall.
Bad Wall Street investments, lending money to family, and then she really cut the knife the deepest, I thought, when she brought the gigantism up about how it's very likely that Big Show is going to be having a short lifespan. Paul, you were getting started your opinion about that, so I'll pass it off to you first.
Everything else you can go on about, but damn, that man's, I know he's been cured of it, but that man's condition, you just don't do that. You just don't do that unless it's a documentary or, some kind of, come on. Why would you do that? Even in the, I'm sorry, I just don't have the words for it. I thought it was very disrespectful and very, like I said, I don't even have the words for it. It was just so bad.
Steven, you got any thoughts about that?
Yeah, I thought that shit was funny as hell. You know what? I don't know what it is, but as far as stuff like that goes, I've got pretty thick skin. I really enjoy that stuff when it breaks kayfabe. I think I've been that exposed to the business breaking kayfabe now, and I think everyone is. I love it when they bring something real in, and it brings out real emotion. It's like Matt Hardy and Edge's feud. That was all real emotion, and I loved it. And I thought it made for a brilliant segment. When you bring this type of stuff out, it really does make the fans connect with the guys in the ring because shit, it's real. I loved it. I loved every second of it. I didn't see anything wrong with it. At the end of the day, Big Show would have okayed all of this. Mm-hmm. Shit.
Well, he had to. He had to okay all of this. Otherwise, it wouldn't have happened.
He's 7 foot, 500 pounds. If he's not okay with something, it's not going to happen.
Yeah, but it did. That's what I was saying. It did happen. He okayed all of this. But would you okay anything that anybody said about your family? No, I don't think you would.
Well, it's not like they directly said anything bad about any members of his family or anything like that. And, I'm sure Big Show has come to grips with what's his condition. And he got cured at a younger age, so maybe he's going to be better off than most Giants we've seen.
Shit, it might have been his idea. Who knows?
Right. Yeah, it's different if it would have been like, your wife, Bess, what a bitch, or something like that. It would have been like, okay.
They couldn't have forced him in anything. It could have been like, sure, you've got to do this. I'll sit on you. Okay, never mind.
I can tell you, I was sitting there writing my notes up during that part of the speech, and as soon as she dropped that bomb, I took my fingers right away from the keyboard. I was watching the TV like, whoa, what? And just as you're saying, it sucked me in more than any other part of that speech did.
Exactly. Real life invokes real emotion, so I'm all for it. Keep it up.
Corey Krause in the chat room says, are you all really surprised? This is the same company that puts Vince McMahon out there and mocks JR's Bell's palsy. Absolutely true. Let's not even talk about when the Big Boss Man drove off with Big Show's father's casket attached to his car.
that shit was just really funny. I've got the VHS of that. I love that.
That was hilarious. I'm not gonna lie. That was hilarious.
And the thing is, that happened around the same time period where my father died, and I still didn't take that in too bad a taste. So,
see, I'm all for it. We need more Snitsky kicking babies into the crowd.
Oh, hell yeah.
But you see, now I feel bad for Paden because I'm sorry that happened.
Well, of course that's sad, but I'm not going to look at a wrestling storyline and let it personally affect me because of that. It's not like they went out there, hey, Mike Paden, this is your father.
Right, yeah.
But no, you know what I mean. You brought it up, and I feel.
Oh, we're not going there. Anyway.
Okay, all right. Anyway, move on.
Let's start running down some of the other events. We had one of our callers touch upon it. We saw the continued invigoration of the primetime players as they went in a match against Heath, Slater, and Jinder Mahal. And I got to say, it was actually a really entertaining tag team match. It almost brought me back to that time period of like the late '80s or the mid to late '90s where we had a good tag team divisions and we saw matches like this every week. Pass around to you guys. Tony, were you as excited for this as I was?
I thought it was a pretty good match, yeah. I mean, I like what they're doing with the primetime players. They should have turned babyface a while ago, I think. And if they're not going to have Big Show and Mark Henry face the Shield at Night of Champions, why not have the primetime players? What the hell? They could stand to lose a tag team title match.
Paul?
Well, I mean, you know how I feel. You know that I think they're just doing this because Darren Young came out of the closet. Because, I mean, they don't want to look like the ignorant wrestling company in the universe, you know? And, you know, I just think they're just doing this because of political reasons. Because, I'm sorry, I can't articulate my point.
Get a little tongue-tied about it. I see what you're saying. It seems like they're doing this because of Darren Young's coming out, and it looks like they're doing it just because to be like, hey, look, we're supporting the gay guy. And
yes.
it's all PR. That's all it is. And I really hope that's not because they are a talented team, and we saw that tonight. We saw how much the crowd was digging them. We saw how they were able to go out there and have an entertaining match. So it's not just that. But
I don't want to seem ignorant because they are a very talented team. But ever since Darren Young came out of the closet, they've won 3 matches in a row, for God's sake.
And I don't think they've ever done that. They didn't even do that when they had AW as their manager.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, this is pretty obvious.
Steve?
Yeah, I can't blame them for doing it for PR reasons because pro wrestling's got a stigma about it being homophobic, or at least backstage they do. You take guys like Bill Watts, he's a bigger redneck as you can get. But it's time that it's a new generation, and I suppose it's good they're making light of it. And as far as I'm concerned, as long as when given the opportunity, they use it well, and they don't, and they you know,
Ladies and gentlemen, we apologize for the technical difficulties we seem to be having with Skype at the moment. Looks like we're getting everything back together here.
There we go.
Yeah, we got Tony on the line. We got Paul back in the line. Just got to get Steven back here, and we will be good to go back with the Raw Post Show here on Mega Powers Radio. Apologies once again. Seems like we're back online here, past whatever problem just happened there. What were we just talking? We were talking about the tag team still, right?
Darren Young, yeah.
I think we pretty much got everything out on that, though, right? You guys got anything else you want to put out?
On my end.
We can move on. It's no big deal.
All right, I think that was a sign that the Darren Young talk has come to an end before it goes anywhere weird.
Does not support Darren Young.
Yeah, exactly. So next we had CM Punk out to address the crowd at one point in the night, and I got to say, this was boring. He had a kendo stick in his hand. The speech he gave was really dumb, but yeah, you could tell he was really smug about what he was saying. It was especially the point where he used the word, "Your ass beating will be of biblical proportions." And I'm really just getting over CM Punk. I'm not into him at all. Like I said, this was boring, and then they had the nerve to show the same video package of what happened last week with Paul Heyman beating him down with the kendo stick, not once, but twice. This was a mess. Tony, your thoughts?
I actually didn't even bother watching it. That goes to show how much I care about this, too. I think that this is a stupid idea of what they're doing. Not only is it not that interesting for me to have to watch him continually say, I'm going to get my hands on Paul Heyman over and over and over again, but they're also screwing the Intercontinental Championship out of a title defense at the pay-per-view where the entire gimmick is that every championship is defended. Right now, we've got a situation where the title is involved in a match, but they're going out of their way to make it to where the title isn't defended. And then we have the tag team title situation where nothing's really being set in stone. We have the U.S. title, which they haven't announced anything for that yet, although it'll probably be Dolph Ziggler. Like, they're making this mistake of kind of what I mentioned earlier, where they focus on one thing and then they can't focus on anything else. And if they're going to give this any kind of a focus, they're giving it the wrong focus. this was a stupid idea, just to have CM Punk come out and cut a generic promo, especially because he doesn't do that good when he's cutting generic promos. He's better when they just let him to his own devices. And if that's what they did here, he phoned it in.
He definitely did, and you brought up a very good point. They have this really huge overlaying storyline, which pretty much should consume everything that's going on. Maybe you could have a couple small things outside of it, but they're trying to make this really high-level personal feud going on between CM Punk and Paul Heyman. It's just not working at this point in time. iRadius in the chat room even says, it's so uninteresting, I don't even want to see Punk versus Brock 2.
Right. I don't think they're necessarily going to go that route either, but they are really screwing the pooch with this. It's a pooch.
Paul.
Okay, I'm going to say I would love to see CM Punk get his hands on Paul Heyman, just because they've built this up so much that, it kind of deserves to have a climax. And why wouldn't they have CM Punk versus Curtis Axel? If CM Punk beats Curtis Axel at this elimination match, he gets Paul Heyman. If he beats Paul Heyman, he gets the Intercontinental Championship. Why wouldn't they do that? I think that would be great. I think if CM Punk beats both of them, he would have the Intercontinental Championship and get his hands on Paul Heyman. Kill two birds with one stone. That's what I'm saying.
I'm wondering if that's either an announcement that they're waiting until later on.
No, I think they'll do it now. I think they'll do it at Night of Champions.
No, what I'm saying is I'm thinking it's something they'll wait until like the week before or 2 weeks before to announce that that's something, just so they have something to say, hey, this is what happened that night. Because otherwise they don't know what they're doing.
It might happen, it might not. But I think that would be a great idea.
What is CM Punk going to do with an Intercontinental title?
Has he had the Intercontinental title like maybe one or two times?
I don't think he's ever had it, has he?
Yeah, he's held it before, but he had a very transitional reign. I think he was the one who dropped it to JBL before JBL dropped it immediately to Rey Mysterio.
But I think this new IC title, I think you could run with it because Curtis isn't doing anything with it. He's not doing anything with it.
You know what it would do? It would give the Intercontinental title and CM Punk some kind of a purpose together, because if he's not going to be in the WWE title picture because of Daniel Bryan, he needs something else for him to do. So have him defend the Intercontinental title. It'll boost up the value to that. It'll give him a title so he looks more important than when he's just feuding with some random person.
And it'll give Paul Heyman another reason to be in the WWE for how long he's had.
And now he wants to get somebody to take the title off of Punk. Now Punk has something that Paul Heyman wants.
Yeah.
Steven, what are your thoughts about it?
First off, if you give CM Punk the Intercontinental Championship, yes, you add more prestige and you add more value to the title. At the same time, you devalue CM Punk, who is one of your hottest commodities, who once comes off a feud with Curtis Axel and Paul Heyman, is the prime guy to go in against Randy Orton. So I disagree with putting the strap on him. If anything, if they're not going to put the belt on the line at Night of Champions, you have CM Punk screw Curtis Axel out on a Raw episode. You've had CM Punk against Paul Heyman talking in the storyline about how I am going to destroy you, I'm going to destroy everyone who's connected to you, and destroy everything about them. So it's a perfect chance. Paul Heyman's one of his prime guys, are a champion. He's Intercontinental Champion. You take that away from him. It adds to the storyline. As far as the promo goes on Raw this evening, I came off it going, that's not a bad promo. But then I think back to it and go, I can't remember a single thing that he said. So I'm pretty much glazed over as far as this feud goes. I'm hoping they give me, because as I'm going to the pay-per-view on September 15th, I'm hoping the Go Home Raw, they're going to give me something to be excited about for this feud.
It's going to be pretty tough. Like I said, I think the biggest problem is that they got so much going on with this new corporation feud. It's just not the right time to try to bring up something like this as well. CM Punk, in all honesty, should be fighting the regime.
I think he will.
Lost for Triple H. He never got his win back from Triple H all those years ago. Now is an excellent opportunity to get that.
Well, have you heard the rumors? It's a strange rumor, so I doubt it's going to happen, but it seems more likely with the segment between Triple H and Paul Heyman recently. There's talks about putting Heyman back with CM Punk in the future and having him go against the regime. It seems kind of weird having this big feud between them for them to do that, but it does seem like they're planting the seeds. So maybe it's just rumors and what's being on the product being coincidence, but I don't know.
All right, so next bit of news I got here, and I can't believe I actually ranked this as high as I am, but we had a triple threat match between Natalya, Brie Bella, and Naomi, where the winner will get the title shot against AJ at Night of Champions. AJ's at ringside doing special guest commentary. This match ends pretty quickly, thank goodness, with AJ interfering in the match, and later on we would have Stephanie McMahon actually officially make the match at Night of Champions a fatal four-way with all four women involved for AJ's Divas title. Who could possibly come out of this? Is it just going to be another win for AJ, or are we going to see a new star born? Steven, why don't you tell us?
I can't comment on the segments or anything because I was away doing something that doesn't involve divas. I don't know. I see the women wrestlers come out and I glaze over and pay no attention. But as far as the feud goes, it's going to be the time I go for a piss at the pay-per-view. So that's all I got to say about that.
Tony?
I'm thinking we're going to see this as a bit of a stall. I could see Natalya and AJ Lee being what comes out of this, and the way to get around that is to have AJ retain, but she only does so because she capitalizes on something that Natalya did. Say, for instance, Natalya puts Brie Bella in the sharpshooter, and she's about to tap out, and AJ hits some kind of a kick on her or something like that, and then puts Brie in her submission move, and then she taps out. And then it's kind of like, well, Natalya had it won, so she can get another shot at AJ because she really, kind of won the match. Sort of like the Cody Rhodes and Damien Sandow Money in the Bank thing.
Paul?
I really can't see AJ losing the title so close to the pipe bombshell that she dropped last week.
Mm-hmm.
I
like that pipe bombshell. That's good.
I don't like looking at all the divas. Really, Natalya is she's the only diva that can take the title away from her, and I don't see that happening. What I see happening is everybody on the Total Divas cast being against AJ, and that's going to go for a while, so that's what's going to happen.
I am pretty much with Tony's opinion on this. I don't think that AJ has a chance of losing this one there, but I do think that we're going to see Natalya look like she probably should have won, and she will become the logical next contender going into the next pay-per-view. And maybe that one, if not the following one, where we'll see a double match series from them, Natalya will eventually be the person to beat AJ, but it's not going to happen at this show. I just can't see it happening.
Yeah.
Could we see AJ become a member of the corporation?
No.
Do you know who would be the perfect member for that? I don't know if any of you know of Paige in NXT, but she's the anti-diva.
Oh, yes. Paige would be very perfect. I don't see... Oh, God, no.
You know who would be better? Karma.
Karma, definitely.
Mm-hmm.
That would, because then they just bring her back, and they're just like, you know what? Fuck all of the divas. She'll destroy all of you in one shot.
Fatten her up first.
That's a very good point.
I don't think they're going to incorporate divas at all into it. I don't think that they're that much of a priority for them.
No, Stephanie McMahon is the dominant diva in that story.
Right.
You mean they're not going to bring in a China of 2013?
Well, I'm pretty sure Big Show's being a big enough diva anyway.
Wouldn't you like the concept of Stephanie McMahon bringing in Paige as her pet project to go and eliminate all these divas that are pissing her off?
Yeah, it could be a nice little solitary thing that Stephanie's doing on the side. I think that could be cool.
Yeah, and it gives the nod to Paige and gets her in the title scene.
I would just like Stephanie McMahon naked. That's all I would want.
Still holding out for that, huh?
Let the boobies hit the floor.
Dude, puppies all the way. Stephanie McMahon.
So we only got a few more things to run down here, guys. We had the matchup between Ryback and Dolph Ziggler, if you want to call it so. Dolph Ziggler came out before the match. He ended up getting attacked by Dean Ambrose, who pretty much set him up for when Ryback came out and just destroyed him for a good 3 minutes, got the pin, and that was that. One thing that I can't help but notice now is Dean Ambrose's new look. He used to come out in the flak jacket. He looked cool. He looked badass. Now that he's in this Under Armour type thing, he just looks like a dude. He looks kind of like a bro and a douche. Imagine how annoying that shit must be to wear and wrestle in under the stage lighting. Shit. It's hard enough as it is. And you add that on top of it, I can understand why he's lost it. Yeah. I don't know.
I like your classification of now he looks like a bro, like a douche.
He does.
It's like,
He's a douche.
All he did was just like take a black jacket off, and it's like, oh, what a douche.
No, it's not because he took it off. It's just how he looks in the sleeveless Under Armour. It looks stupid.
I think the biggest problem is his hair.
Yeah, the hair's not helping either.
That's the thing that makes him look weird to me, not the Under Armour. Although I think that he would benefit, and everybody else too, for the most part, would benefit from just wearing normal ring gear. Maybe not Roman Reigns. Roman Reigns looks pretty fucking huge.
He's got to keep those like tough military style boots and the pants that he's got on. He looks good in the outfit he's in. I say keep them how they are. I mean, once you take that off them, what are they? They're just three other guys in wrestling attire. At least it gives them some mystique and a gimmick, somewhat.
Maybe once they stop being the stooges of the establishment, then they can start wearing that. Right now, I agree that if they're looking for this kind of bodyguard look, it works. Minus the hair. The douche hair, if we're going to call it that.
See, you guys excited when we might see a potential program for Dolph Ziggler and Dean Ambrose? And also, what's this mean for Ryback, Tony?
Yes and no. I don't like the idea that they're going to put Ziggler with Dean Ambrose right now, because I think that all they're going to do is job him out. I think we're going to actually see a horrible Night of Champions, because it's going to just be dedicated to Triple H's group destroying everybody. Now, that might be a necessity, but at the same time, it's kind of boring to see that on a pay-per-view. And for somebody like Dolph Ziggler who gets screwed constantly, the only way I'll be excited about this is if he walks away with the United States title, and even then, he deserves better than that. He never should have lost the title from the Del Rio match in the first place. Everybody who went on and on and on about, well, they're going to build him up and all that, this is just proving yet again that they don't follow that idea. Once they don't push somebody, they're not pushing them until a while happens. And it's going to be a while before we get Ziggler on top again. Having him against Dean Ambrose might be a good match, but the end of the match is going to ruin it all, and it's just going to be the Shield interacting in some way.
I want to give a shout-out to iRadius. I think he nailed the thing with Dean Ambrose perfectly. He looks like the guy at the gym who never works out. And also Corey Krause, he said, hopefully this means nothing for Ryback. Steven? Personally, I'm not one of Dolph Ziggler's biggest fans. I like watching him in the ring. I don't like listening to him talk. So I'm okay with him being away from the world title picture and the WWE title picture. I'm actually quite content having him in a US title role, especially having a Dean Ambrose versus Dolph Ziggler match. Both of those guys are solid in-ring performers, and as long as they give them the time, I say a good 15 to 20 minutes, that match potentially has the opportunity to be match of the night. As far as Ryback goes, hopefully he's not on the pay-per-view. I hope he had another backstage segment where he's bullying somebody. Well, hopefully he can just throw Josh Matthews off the stage so he never has to be on TV again either. Oh, Paul, your thoughts?
I just want Ryback to put someone in some kind of salad, Just put him in some kind of salad? We should have tuna salad, chicken salad. There's a whole bunch of salad he can put him in.
I'd love the booking meeting behind that. Vince, so Ryback, you're going to put someone in salad.
We need to get kids to eat healthier, so we're going to feature salad. How can we get that involved in here? Well, Ryback's backstage.
Wow.
Well, I really hope they push Ryback, because they've been pushing him for so long, and then they just, drop off the face of the earth. Ryback deserves a better push than that. Skip Sheffield, whatever you want to call him. This Night of Champions is going to be interesting to watch, because there's so many things that can Not go wrong. Go wrong is not the words I want to use. There's so many things that can happen with this Night of Champions, and I think it's going to be really interesting to watch.
Oh, iRadius, maybe he bullies Triple H and crew for not putting him on the pay-per-view, and it's a face turn.
And he puts him in some fucking egg salad.
Imagine if he just took Triple H's face and just dipped it into a giant bowl of some type of potato salad or something.
Bam!
Triple H's he could have a big thing of potatoes stuck up one of his nostrils.
Yeah, but his face wouldn't go all the way down there. His nose would hit the bottom first, and he'd be propped up.
Hey, he's done worse things with Shawn Michaels and DX.
No, Triple H would go to get back up, and the bowl would still be hanging there because his nose lodged in so far.
You really think Triple H would put over that salad?
Oh, yeah, he would. Oh, yes, he would.
I buried that salad.
He buries everything.
All right, we got two quick things we're going to race through here. These are the last bits to talk about. Fandango versus The Miz was a mess. Well, it's one of the worst figure fours he's ever done, and yet Fandango still almost tapped out before he had it in properly. And then when he finally does get it in, quick tap, complete waste of time. Fandango's looking like a joke again. This is terrible.
I think your typo in the chat early on was right. It's the figure three when Miz does it.
Yeah. Enough said about that, and I want to at least end this on a good note, so I saved this as the last thing to say. We will have Edge next week on Raw.
Yeah! In Canada!
I'm excited. I'll miss Edge. So, guys, we're going to go around the horn one final time. I want you to give me your overall thoughts of tonight's Monday Night Raw, and then finish it off with your high point and your low point. Steve, why don't you get us started?
My overall opinion of Raw, it was a fucking chore to watch, and I regret sitting through 3 hours of that crap. As far as my high point goes, it's Randy Orton versus Cody Rhodes. Not just the match, but the entire segment throughout the evening. It was well done. It highlighted Cody Rhodes very well. And I don't know if he's going away for a while, but I'd love for him to somewhat do the John Cena thing where he comes back and gets escorted out by the security, but not straight away. As far as my low point of the evening goes, it's the whole Big Show versus Daniel Bryan thing. I thought it was poorly executed. I don't think it made any sense. And it made Daniel Bryan look weak. It made Big Show look weak. I just don't think it was a necessity, and I hope never to see it again.
You know, I just realized we didn't talk about Rob Van Dam versus Damien Sandow, but I don't think anyone has anything to say about that anyway.
I wasn't in the room for the segment, so I don't know anything about it. But I'm hoping he gets a big pop being in Michigan for Night of Champions.
Oh, that would make sense. It happened. Paul, your overall thoughts of Raw tonight and your high point, low point.
I thought the high point was the Randy Orton versus Cody Rhodes match. That was an excellent match. My low point would have to be the McMahons dumping on Big Show. Well, Big Show didn't deserve that, even if it was fake. He didn't deserve a lot of what happened to him tonight. He's been a staple of their whole roster for at least 20 years, and I just think he deserved better.
Oh. Tony?
Overall, I would say the show was rather bland, and it's kind of disappointing because they have a really good storyline going on right now, and they can do better than this. The low point, I would say, is probably the further damage to the Night of Champions card, because they've really been screwing that up lately, whether it's the Big Show segment and the no tag team title thing that we're getting, or the Punk feud having nothing extra going for it now, or the RVD situation, how bland that is. High point, if you want to ignore the Cody Rhodes Orton match, which was great, or how I was a big fan of mentioning the Ironclad contract, also on top of it, I would say a high point would be the Doink the Clown reference and the fact that they brought up the Cruiserweight and European title, which we haven't heard of in a long, long time. But, of course, we mentioned it on Smack Talk, so I'm fucking watching you guys.
Also, fuck Iowa for not popping for the Cruiserweight title mention.
Yeah, fuck Iowa in general.
Yeah,
look, I just want to say, why they got to bring up Doink the Clown mention? That's speaking ill of the dead, and they are better than that. Don't speak ill of the dead.
Well,
Okay.
it's only partly dead. There's multiple doinks.
When have you ever heard them speak anything of Chris Benoit? Well, like, really?
Are you really
Come
going to
on.
compare Doink the Clown to Chris Benoit?
Chris Benoit?
I
No,
am.
you mean Stephen Richards?
I am going to compare Doink the Clown to Chris Benoit.
No,
because
you could compare.
nobody-
You could compare this closer to Eddie Guerrero. And let's not forget, it wasn't too long after Eddie died where they had Randy Orton coming out saying Eddie is in hell.
I actually like that segment. I had no issue with it.
Nobody should ever speak ill of any person who is dead.
Or
I'm
even
sorry.
more recently with the Jerry Lawler-Michael Cole series, where Michael Cole was ripping on Jerry Lawler's mom.
It was like 20 minutes after she died.
That was horrible, too. Nobody should speak ill of anybody's dead. I'm sorry.
But you see, listen to your reaction. That's what they want. So even if you don't like it, it worked.
No, it didn't work. It made me. It made me even madder. It made me not want to watch them at all. I don't like anybody who speaks ill of anybody's dead. Anybody who speaks ill of my dead family will not get watched at all. They will get fucking beaten to a pulp. God damn it.
Wow. All right. Well, turning it over to the chat for a second, Corey Krause gave us his high point, low point. High point was definitely the Orton-Rhodes match. His low point was the figure four leg lock attempted by The Miz on Fandango. Definitely got to agree with him there. As far as mine, I thought this show was okay at best. I agree with Tony. It was very bland. I don't know if I would say it was bad, but it is kind of a shame that we got this really, really hot story going on right now. We had a really awesome SummerSlam. We had a good Raw the following night. And it seems like I don't want to say derailed, but it seems like the fire has quelled a little bit, and that's not what they needed on the last Raw that a lot of people were watching before it headed into football season. They really needed to get people hooked on what was going on and with this story, and I don't know if they did that. As far as my high points and low points, my high point is going to be unanimous. I'm going to say the Cody Rhodes Randy Orton match. That match was absolutely fantastic. I also want to give a shout out to the tag match between the Primetime Players and 3MB. All four of those guys showing they deserve to be on Monday Night Raw, and I hope we continue to see them with a job on there. Low point, and people may not like this one, I'm going to say the low point was CM Punk's speech that he had. It was just boring. Nothing memorable came out of it, and then they had the nerve to show that video package afterwards. This hurt this feud, and it was already in a bad place, so not good business going on down there. And with that, guys, I believe we're going to wrap it up here on the Mega Powers Radio Monday Night Raw post show. We're going to go around the horn one final time, and we're going to give our closing words and a plugs that we want to put out there. So let's do that. Paul Hibbard, why don't you get us started off, dude?
Hey, come on down to the Phoenix Center in Richland Center, Wisconsin. We will have free bacon and karaoke this Thursday.
That's a good way to lure people in. Free bacon.
I'm in.
Free bacon. I'm not lying to you at all. Free bacon.
I want free bacon.
Damn right. Come on down.
The chat room's lighting up. Oh, my gosh.
Free bacon gets a better pop than half the shit on Raw.
And I'm not lying to you. It's absolutely free. You don't have to pay for it. Bacon.
That's the only thing that would have made Iowa pop.
Steven?
Well, after a crappy evening of Monday Night Raw, all I got to say is if you want some real entertainment, keep an eye out on Dream Elite Radio for MMA Unanimous Decision, where I'm going to be on with numerous hosts over a few weeks, breaking down mixed martial arts, UFC, Bellator, World Series of Fighting, the whole lot. And also check out a new show with myself and Michael Burhan called Otaku Nation. That's going to be a monthly thing going on. You can find that on the Mega Powers Radio.
Tony.
All right, guys, follow everything A Mango Tree and Tony Mango related by searching the Facebook and Twitter accounts, including outonlimbs.com and fanboysanonymous.com. For wrestling-related stuff, you guys can check out a Bleacher Report article I'm going to be putting up sometime within the next couple hours. WWE Night of Champions 2013, talented stars who won't get the proper spotlight. You could also check smarkoutmoment.com and youtube.com/smarkoutmoment, where we do the podcast Smack Talk that I mentioned earlier. This week we're going to have fantasy booking, who should be the champions right now in our minds, for episode 96. Smarkoutmoment.com is actually looking for more writers, so if you're interested in writing for a wrestling website, go ahead and send me a message on the contact form of there, and we'll see what happens.
All right, and finally, let you all know what's up with me. If you want to follow, you can do so on pretty much any social network that's out there by going to the handle MrPaden. That's Mr. Paden. You can also check out some of the other fine shows we have here on Mega Powers Radio by going to megapowersradio.com, facebook.com/megapowersradio, or youtube.com/megapowersradio. You should also tune in every night because we got cool things going on. We got this Monday Night Raw post show here every single week after the conclusion of Raw. We got Geek Speak on Tuesdays where we talk about whatever the heck's on the mind of a few of us geeks here. The Daysman Show on Wednesdays where we talk about sports and celebrity news. Keeping Kayfabe, another show with myself. Steven's there a lot. Tony's there sometimes. We always got a rotating guest there. We talk about wrestling's past. We pick a match, go in depth about it, and we have a little bit of fun with that. Friday night's our night off, but we record Smark Out Moment where you heard Tony talking about before, so be sure to check that out on his YouTube channel. And Saturday night we got I Got Gameplay with Michael Burhan. We're going to be having a rotating series of guests on there as well where we talk video games. And Sunday night is our specials night, as you heard Otaku Nation mention. That'll be on Sunday nights. We also do a pre-show for pay-per-views, and the next one coming up is for Night of Champions. I don't know the exact date. I think it's the 14th? 17th. 17th. That's what it is. So on the 17th, you can tune in for us for at 6:30 p.m. We'll be doing a show where we give our predictions and all that other happy stuff.
Night of Champions is 15th.
15th, okay. Well, there you go. September 15th, be sure to join us for our Night of Champions pre-show here on Mega Powers Radio. And with that, guys, thank you all for listening in. I'm Mike Paden, for Tony Mango, for Paul Hibbard, and for Stephen Wago. This has been the Monday Night Raw post-show here on Mega Powers Radio. We'll see y'all next week after Monday Night Raw.